Several lawmakers and activists were arrested while participating in voting rights demonstrations in Washington over the past 2 days. They're calling on Congress to pass the For the People Act. It's aimed at protecting voting rights and would block several state-imposed voting restrictions introduced this year. One of the lawmakers arrested was Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds. He joins me now from Washington. Representative Reynolds, thanks for being here. Describe what's been happening on Capitol Hill over the past couple of days and what led to your arrest.
Well, first of all, it's great to be here with you this evening. The last several days have been exhilarating. We've had activists from across the country, including the legendary historic civil rights leader, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and many others that have come to Washington, D.C. with Texas legislators advocating for Congress to pass federal voting rights legislation so that they can stop voter suppression laws like in Texas and other states in Georgia and Arizona and Florida. So we're here with the fierce urgency of now demanding Congress to take up H.R. 1, the For the People Act, and advance H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, so that we can get federal legislation to stop Texas and other states from disenfranchising mainly people of color, particularly African Americans and Hispanics.
You and several of your Democratic colleagues left Texas weeks ago to protest GOP-led voter restrictions. Tell us more about the specific legislation and how it might impact Texas voters.
Well, the legislation that we're fighting right now is House Bill 3 and Senate Bill 1. This is a bill that is a solution in search of a problem. It was perpetrated by the big lie of Donald Trump of voter fraud, but the facts are our own Texas Secretary of State, a Republican, said that there was no voter fraud. So what this bill would do is eliminate drive-through and 24-hour voting. It would empower partisan poll watchers like the Proud Boys. Imagine those insurrectionists that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. They would be able to roam freely in polling places. It adds criminal penalties for minor voting violations. So it is very restrictive. It is something that is it's a solution in search of a problem. It does nothing to protect voter integrity. It is only designed to disenfranchise mainly people of color. And that's why we're calling it Jim Crow 2.0, because it doesn't enact poll taxes or the literacy test, but it does have a disparate impact among people of color. And that is why we're fighting so hard.
You know, Texas Republicans, though, say that the legislation will restore confidence in elections and make it harder for candidates to cheat. Governor Greg Abbott also said that Texas House Democrats like yourself, quote, abandoned their responsibilities as legislators by breaking quorum and leaving the state. How would you like to respond to all of that?
Well, I take issue with that. I think it's, misplaced priorities. They know that there is no evidence of voter fraud. They know that this is nothing more than an attempt to make it more difficult so they can put their thumb on the scale so that Republicans can maintain power in a state that is majority minority. Texas, for a fact, based on the 2020 census, has more African Americans than any other state in the country. There are more Latinas in Texas than anywhere except California. So this bill is designed with surgical precision to reduce the number of blacks and browns that may vote. We had a record turnout in 2020, and that's why we did so well. They want to stop that record turnout. They want to make it more difficult. They want to add voter ID requirements for seniors on mail ballots. They are doing so many things that are misplaced. And before we broke quorum the first time, they ended souls to the polls and other things. So we have made some progress, but this really is misplaced. We should be focused on online voter registration and same-day registration and ways to enhance our democracy, not make it more difficult. This is a precious fundamental right to vote, and it is unfortunate that Texas Republicans and Republicans across this country are continuing to perpetuate that on the heels of the 56-year anniversary of the signing of the Voting Rights Act, that it eliminated these similar restrictions in this country. So again, I think that they are not being statesmen. They're being very partisan, and they're doing everything they can to maintain power. Instead of reaching out to minorities, they're trying to limit them from voting.
And so you're there in Washington hoping that at a higher level, the federal government, Congress, can pass the For the People Act to help voting rights in your state. What are you hoping it will achieve?
Well, first of all, if we pass this legislation, I'm claiming when we pass this legislation, it will end the state's ability to do this without pre-clearance, without getting pre-clearance from the Department of Justice. That was a major part of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that was gutted from the Shelby case when the Supreme Court in 2003 changed that. So they've been waiting for Congress to reauthorize it. That's what this HR 1 would do. It would make it so the states like Texas and Georgia and Arizona and Florida wouldn't be able to enact these partisan bills with a intended consequence of disparate treatment. So we want federal to stop states like Texas from overreaching. And so that is what this legislation would do. It will put a checks and balances, and it would limit states' abilities to harm communities of color and vulnerable communities without having a federal or a state reason to do so. And right now, there is no reason that this legislation should be enacted.
You know, Representative Reynolds, you and your fellow Democratic lawmakers have also been making some headlines there in Washington because several Texas lawmakers who journeyed alongside you have tested positive for COVID-19. How are they doing, and how has this impacted your efforts?
Well, first of all, thanks for asking that. This Delta variant has been highly, highly contagious. And every one of my colleagues and I, all 58 that traveled from Texas to DC, were fully vaccinated, and 6 tested positive. Thankfully, because of their vaccines, they experienced no symptoms or very mild flu-like symptoms, and they treated, quarantined, and they've been exceptionally well. So this is a message to the country that this virus is still very present in our lives, and you need to make sure you get the vaccination, and we need to mask up. We believe in science. We believe that is possibly saved many, many millions of lives. But thankfully, my colleagues are back to full strength, and it did slow us down. It did prevent us from having many of the in-person meetings that we started off with. But since we've been fully cleared, everyone followed the CDC guidelines, and we're all back 100%. And it just slowed us down a little bit. But thank God, everyone's healthy and vibrant and back to work.
Glad to hear that people's health have improved, and appreciate the message on how these breakthrough infections can occur, but the vaccinations really seem to help out in these cases. Meanwhile, the White House says that 1/3 of last week's COVID-19 cases were in Texas and Florida. 1/3 of the entire country's cases were in just 2 states, yours being one of them. Why do you think your state is one of the hardest hit right now?
Well, I'm going to be very transparent. I believe that it's a failed leadership from Governor Abbott. I think that Governor Abbott is very reluctant to promote people wearing masks. We have not done enough to promote people getting vaccines, and just the same as Florida. These are 2 Republican governors that have pushed myths over science, that have not advocated vigorously for vaccines and mask wearing. So they both have said that there would be no more mask mandates. But I believe that if this variant continues to ravage communities, then we should put more mask mandates, because we know that per science, masks and vaccines help to stop the spread. And right now, we're seeing Texas, and Florida being hit overwhelmingly and disproportionately than other states. So they need to put partisan politics aside and stop politicizing masks and vaccinations.
All right. Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.